With WrestleMania about 3 months away, and considering that 6 championships have changed hands in the WWE main roster in the last, 3 weeks? In this video, we're going to talk about every current champion and whether or not we think that they will make it to WrestleMania as champions. If we don't think that's the case, we're going to talk about who we think they're going to lose it to, and also what the match is going to look like for that title at WrestleMania, if there even is one. Hey, do you have a wrestling guy yet? No? Well, maybe it should be me. You should subscribe. Look, as a fan recently, WWE has been a lot of fun because of its unpredictability. But I would hate to be a current champion thinking I'm going to get my WrestleMania match as a champion, getting my WrestleMania moment, and all of a sudden, just a few months before the big show, not Paul White, but before WrestleMania, you get your title taken away, and then all of a sudden you're kind of up in the air. Am I going to be at WrestleMania? Am I not? What's the plan for me? So that's kind of the motivation for this video. Like I said, 6 titles have changed hands in the last 6 weeks. I don't think that that's the end of it. I do think that there will be more title changes between now and then. But also, let's get into the rhythm of predicting what's going to happen at WrestleMania. I don't think that all of these champions will have a match at WrestleMania, so we'll get into those as well. And, like I said, we'll talk about what titles will be defended at WrestleMania against who. Some of them may be larger matches than just a one-on-one match, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit as well. Starting it off with the women's tag team champions in Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. They recently defeated the Kabuki Warriors on the first Monday Night Raw of the year and became tag team champions. There's a whole bunch of different storylines intertwined, a whole bunch of different teams intertwined for these women's tag team titles. I think it's one of the most interesting things happening right now in the WWE. The Rio have a match this week, this Monday night. As I record this on a Sunday, tomorrow they have a match on Raw for to defend their tag team titles against the Judgment Day, against Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. I do not think that Rhea Ripley and Io Sky will make it to WrestleMania as tag team champions. I do think that the Judgment Day dethrone them tomorrow night on Raw. And I think that this championship kind of ping-pongs a bit. The Judgment Day win it this week. There is another number one contenders match happening on Friday night between, who is it? It's Lash Legend and Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, and Julia and Kiana James. I think that Lash Legend and Nia Jax win that match. I think they then dethrone the Judgment Day, and this title kind of ping-pongs around a bit to where it culminates and becomes what we've been asking for. And at WrestleMania, we get a multi-team tag team ladder match, and we get women's tag team TLC. This match would absolutely steal WrestleMania if it happens. And the way that these stories are going in the women's division, I don't think any of these women have a claim for the big titles in their division. So I think putting them all in a women's tag team match, in a ladder match, having them just destroy and win the night would be absolutely beautiful, would be absolutely phenomenal. It would get match of the night. So I think that it would be women's TLC at WrestleMania. We're going to get women's TLC for the women's tag team championships. And I think who comes out of there as winners, I'm going to give it to Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. I think they come out of WrestleMania as tag team champions because, if you remember, they went into WrestleMania as tag team champions. But Bayley got attacked by Becky Lynch, and she didn't make it to WrestleMania, so Becky Lynch took her spot, and then they lost those titles. Actually, did they lose those titles? No, maybe they won them at WrestleMania, but then they lost them the day after. Something like that. Yes, they won it because it was Lyra 2 belts. So they won him at WrestleMania, but then they lost it the day after. But anyway, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria come out of this match as tag team champions. Moving on, we have the tag team champions over on SmackDown. I don't know what they call these two. I think they're the WWE tag team champions on SmackDown, the World Tag Team Champions on Raw. But anyway, we have the Wyatt Six as the WWE Tag Team Champions over on SmackDown. It's Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. And they're currently feuding with the MFTs for these titles. They have a match this coming Friday for those tag team titles. I do think that the Wyatt Six lose these titles to the MFTs. I don't know if it happens this week or if it happens later down the line, but I do think that the Wyatt Six lose these titles. And on top of that, I don't think there's a WrestleMania match for these titles. I don't think that, yes, the tag team division in SmackDown is strong. They've kind of been sitting in the back burner. I think because we're going to get women's TLC at WrestleMania, and listen, that's fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. That's fingers crossed and hoping that we get that match. I don't think that we get any other tag team match. I do think we get another tag team match, spoiler alert, but I don't think we get a tag team match for these titles, right? Like the story just isn't there. Like the tag teams are all kind of feuding with each other separately. Like you have Johnny Gargano feuding with Fraxium, but now also Tommaso Ciampa's gone, so like that takes away one tag team. The Street Profits we haven't seen in a while. Motor City Machine Guns, where have they been? So I don't think that there is enough build and enough time to build a really good tag team match for a very good feud for those tag team championships at WrestleMania. So I don't think that we will get a match at WrestleMania for the probably MFTs as the WWE Tag Team Champions. I don't think that the WWE Tag Team title belts will get a match at WrestleMania. That's what I wanted to say. On the SmackDown side, we have the Usos holding the WWE World Tag Team Championships. They dethroned AJ Styles and Dragon Lee a few weeks ago. They put up a whole like kind of open challenge, taking all comers kind of thing. They're going to have a match at some point. I don't know when. I don't think they said when. They're going to have a match at some point versus Otis and Tozawa. I don't think Otis and Tozawa beat them. I do think that that match ends with the Usos on top. However, I do not think that the Usos make it to WrestleMania as tag team champions. I think that the story that they're telling with Jey Uso isn't over. I don't think that Jey Uso's failed singles run is over with him just becoming a tag team with his brother again. His brother's going to leave in a few months because Naomi is going to have a baby and they're going to have a baby together. So Jimmy Uso is going to be written off TV probably soon, right? Probably by the summertime. So I don't think that they remain tag team champions and then just ride off to the sunset and then we just don't see them for a while. So I do think that the Usos will lose these titles, and then we get that story of Jey crashing out, of Jey, trying to find a new way to like be the top guy, of Jey maybe turning a little darker, maybe turning a little heel, and using that heelish way to get on top again, to be a world champion again. So I do think that the Usos lose these tag team titles. The people that I think that they lose it to, I think they lose it to the New Day. I think there will be some sort of story before WrestleMania where the New Day is like, we're the best tag team of all time. The Usos are like, we're the best tag team of all time. And then they lose it to the New Day. And speaking of being the best tag teams of all time, I think that the New Day then have a match at WrestleMania against the Hardys, right? Speaking of being the best tag team of all time, the Hardys are on TNA. Man, the Hardys held the NXT Tag Team Championships. I don't know if they still do because I don't really follow NXT, but the Hardys are right there. So I think that staying within this theme of best tag team of all time, I think that the New Day then defend those titles at WrestleMania against the Hardy Boys. And why not? Let's give it to the Hardy Boys. Let's have them win it one more time. I would love to see the Hardy Boys on Monday Night Raw as tag team champions for one last time. So why not? The Hardy Boys walk out of WrestleMania as tag team champions. Moving on to the women's mid-card scene. Man, starting off on SmackDown, starting off with the U.S. champion on SmackDown, this division has been so thin for so long. We've ping-ponged it back and forth between Chelsea Green and Julia. Before that, who had it before Julia? Was it Zelina Vega that had it before Julia? With the NXT call-ups, coming to SmackDown, I thought that Jordynne Grace would get a run for this title first. It seems like she's going straight into the main event picture. That's fine. So it's really hard to tell who exactly is going to dethrone Julia. Do I think that Julia is going to stay Women's United States Champion all the way to WrestleMania? Yes, I do. I think that Julia holds it between now and then just because I don't see any other contenders coming after this championship. I don't think that Chelsea Green gets another run with the title before then. In my last predictions video for who dethrones the US champion on Friday Night Smackdown, I said that it would be Alexa Bliss or Charlotte Flair. I don't remember who I said, but I said one of them too. I think I said Charlotte Flair would dethrone Julia for this title. I still think that happens, but I don't think that happens until after WrestleMania. Considering what I said about the tag team championships, what I said about women's TLC at WrestleMania, I think that match happens at WrestleMania. Then a lot of these tag teams, which are built mostly of two main eventers, kind of go their own separate ways, right? And Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss fit that mold. So I think that after WrestleMania, they split off. Maybe they have a feud against each other. Maybe one of them turns heel. I don't know, but I do think that I'm going to say they do. I'm going to say that they one of them turns on the other, and that becomes a feud. And after that feud, Charlotte Flair is looking for titles because that's what Charlotte Flair does. One of the titles she's never won has been the Women's U.S. Championship on SmackDown. So I think that she eventually takes that title from Julia. But I don't think it's until after WrestleMania. I think Julia does remain the champion between now and WrestleMania. Maybe they'll throw them into the women's tag team scene as well. They do have that match on Friday for the number one contendership, them being Julia and Kiana James. So maybe they'll get involved in that WrestleMania tag team match, but I don't think that the women's US title gets defended this year at WrestleMania. The IC title picture is another story. The women's IC title picture has also gone back and forth quite a bit between Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch. Maxine Dupree and Becky Lynch have a match this week on Monday Night Raw again for the third time for the title. This was the hardest one for me to pick, whether or not I thought that Becky Lynch would remain champion all the way to WrestleMania. I'm of two minds because I think that no matter what, we're getting Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee at WrestleMania. Now, does that mean that AJ Lee gets involved on Monday and cost Becky Lynch this match? Or does Becky Lynch win, maybe being a heel, maybe using some sort of heelish tactics? And does she then take that title to WrestleMania? They're in the Rumble together. They have some sort of face-to-face at WrestleMania where one throws the other. Maybe AJ Lee throws Becky Lynch out of the Royal Rumble, and then that culminates in a match at WrestleMania for that IC championship. But ultimately, what I went with was Becky Lynch does retain against Maxine Dupree. Becky Lynch remains the IC champion all the way to WrestleMania. And to make things a little bit more interesting between AJ Lee and Becky Lynch, their match at WrestleMania is for that IC championship, and AJ Lee walks away as new Women's Intercontinental Championship. I think the whole reason that they even gave it to Becky Lynch so quickly after Maxine Dupree won it was to make that match more interesting, to make that match be for something rather than just a hatred feud. So I think that Becky Lynch makes it to WrestleMania. And the story that they want to tell is AJ Lee comes back. She was so ahead of her time back in the days, which she absolutely was, by the way. And she wins this title that didn't exist when she was around before. She comes back, she wins this championship, and she helps elevate the women's division once again. In the men's mid-card scene, on SmackDown, we have Carmelo Hayes as our men's U.S. champion. He is currently hosting an open challenge. There seems to be a lot happening in the background, in the back for this title. Tama Tonga has been making his claim for this title for a while now. He's been lurking in the back, kind of just watching things play out. Even when Ilya Dragunov was champion, watching things play out, waiting for his shot. I do think that after the MFTs win the tag team championship, Tama Tonga will answer the open challenge by Carmelo Hayes, and he will win and become the new WWE US champion. However, and looking at what I've done so far with the Friday Night SmackDown roster, not a single champion. I don't have a single champion defending at WrestleMania, and it doesn't change here. I don't think that Tama Tonga will defend that title at WrestleMania. Even if it's Carmelo Hayes, I don't think he defends that title at WrestleMania. So I don't think we get a WrestleMania match, unfortunately, for the U.S. Championship. But I do think that Tama Tonga wins and becomes U.S. champion before WrestleMania. On the Raw side, we have El Sucio, Dirty Dominic Mysterio, as our mid-card champion. He is the current IC champion. He's been IC champion since he defeated John Cena for that title. Where was it? At Survivor Series, I think it was. So since then, Dominic Mysterio is still our Intercontinental Champion, and I think he does remain so all the way to WrestleMania. Now, there are current reports that Dominic Mysterio is hurt, but it doesn't seem like that injury is going to last a long time. Just this Saturday night, we had AAA, where El Hijo del Vikingo became number one contender for the AAA Mega Campeonato. I don't know when that match is happening, but it seems like Dominic Mysterio is pretty much ready to compete anytime now. So because he is already defending that title at AAA, I think he'll be back on Raw soon. Maybe have a defense at some point for that IC championship. Maybe against El Grande Americano, because El Grande Americano turned face in AAA, by the way. Him and Rey Mysterio are buds now, so we haven't seen that on Monday Night Raw. We haven't seen that on the WWE main roster yet, but I feel like we're going to see some of that once Dominic Mysterio comes back. So he'll have a few matches where he defends the title. He'll probably have a feud with El Grande Americano. He'll probably beat El Grande Americano for that IC championship. And then what I think we're going to get at WrestleMania is, yeah, I know, I said this once already. I'm realizing that maybe they don't want to have two ladder matches at WrestleMania. But you know what? Night 1 and Night 2. So I'm thinking we're going to get a ladder match for that IC championship where the winner and new IC champion, I'm going to give it to Bronson Reed. I think Bronson Reed and the Vision need gold. Spoiler alert. I think Bronson Reed and the Vision need gold to make them look like the big bad heels that they are. They want to take over WWE, make them champions of everything. So I think that Bronson Reed wins the IC championship at WrestleMania, but I do think that Dominic Mysterio makes it all the way to WrestleMania as the Intercontinental Champion. All right, getting to the main roster, starting off with the women's main roster champion, starting off on SmackDown, we have Jade Cargill as our WWE Women's Champion. Jade Cargill has held this championship since she beat, who did she beat? Oh, she beat Tiffany Stratton for that championship. I honestly don't remember when that was. SummerSlam maybe? But she's held it for a while. She's had little feuds that don't really mean anything so far. She's had feuds with BFAB. She's had feuds with Michin. They both seem to be injured right now. So those feuds are kind of in the back burner. It seems like she's starting something new off with Jordynne Grace. They're probably going to have a match at the Royal Rumble. But I don't think that Jordynne Grace wins that match. I don't think that anyone dethrones Jade Cargill before WrestleMania. I do think that Jade Cargill walks into WrestleMania as the WWE Women's Champion. And she defends it with who I think is going to win the Royal Rumble. Spoiler for a future video. Bianca Belair. So I think Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill at WrestleMania. And I think that Bianca Belair walks away as the new WWE Women's Championship. I think that match is pretty much what everyone has on their books. I think it's pretty much what everyone's predicting. And sorry, I'm no different. And I want to see that match happen. So let's do it. On the Raw side, we have Stephaine Vaquer. There is also an injury that looks like Stephaine Vaquer is working through. It doesn't seem, I don't want to say that it doesn't seem that serious, but I thought that it was serious enough to have her vacate this championship maybe last week. That doesn't seem to be what's happening. She has been constantly beaten down by Raquel Rodriguez. We're probably going to get a match for that championship. I'm also going to say probably at the Rumble, mostly because I think WWE needs to showcase women's wrestling at the Rumble. That's my stance. So I think we're going to get both champions defending their title at the Rumble. I think Raquel Rodriguez wins it. I think Raquel Rodriguez wins this title, and she takes this title all the way to WrestleMania. Listen, I know, I understand, and I've said it before, and I've said it again. We have to build new stars, and I think that Raquel Rodriguez has really proven herself this past year. 2025 was a hell of a year for Raquel Rodriguez, and what better way to show her that we noticed it and that she deserves it than by giving her this title. I do, however, think that this leads to some sort of chaos within the Judgment Day. I think that Liv Morgan is the person who ends up facing Raquel Rodriguez at WrestleMania. I think Liv probably wins the Chamber after Bianca wins the Royal Rumble, and Liv kind of has no choice but to challenge for this title, right? Because Bianca's already challenged for the women's title over on SmackDown, so Liv kind of has no other choice, right? And I don't know if this results in the Judgment Day finally breaking up, or if it's just another tease of an eventual breakup. But I think Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez would be very interesting, especially considering that they're still part of the same faction. I don't think that this faction breaks up before then, but maybe after that. So Liv Morgan to walk away from WrestleMania as the new WWE Women's World Champion. As for the men's main event picture, starting it off with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre became a champion about a week ago as I record this. He obviously beat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Championship in a 3 Stages of Hell match. I think something that not a lot of people saw coming. I did. I predicted it. Go see my video. Go see my predictions video. I 100% predicted everything that would happen and how it happened. I predicted Jacob Fatu. I'm not the one saying it. The internet is saying it. Go check it out. I just want to toot my own horn because everyone's like, oh, no one saw this coming. I did. Anyway, he beat Drew McIntyre. He beat Cody Rhodes in that 3 Stages of Hell match, in a very entertaining match involving Jacob Fatu. This last week, we saw Jacob Fatu kind of being involved in everything, right? Like, he beat up Kit Wilson for no reason, but then he called out Cody Rhodes. Him and Cody Rhodes brawled it out. When the show started on SmackDown, the one in London, he kind of chased Drew McIntyre out of the ring, that whole thing. So, do I think that Drew McIntyre is going to lose the championship before WrestleMania? I do not. I do think that Drew McIntyre will make it all the way to WrestleMania as the WWE Undisputed Champion. And I think that that title will be defended at WrestleMania in a triple threat match, both against Cody Rhodes and Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu and Cody Rhodes have a match at this upcoming Saturday night's main event. I think it's actually this coming Saturday. So they have a match happening there. I don't know who will win. Maybe Drew McIntyre will get involved. Maybe a third person will get involved. Maybe Roman Reigns will get involved, and maybe this WrestleMania match will be a fatal 4-way. That would be a lot of interesting. That'd be really interesting too. But I do think, as of right now, I think it's only a triple threat match. I think it's Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu for that title. Yeah, give me that match. Absolutely. I want that match. And I don't know if that means that either Jacob Fatu or Cody Rhodes wins the Rumble and maybe the other one wins the Chamber. I would love that, by the way, if one, either for this title or for the World Championship, if two different people win both events, but they both challenge for the same title. I think that would be absolutely amazing. Like if Jacob Fatu won the Rumble, but then Cody Rhodes won the Elimination Chamber, and they're both like, no, we want to go after the Undisputed Championship. I think that that would be so much fun. It would throw like WWE booking for a curveball, and I would really enjoy that. I don't know if WWE is willing to do that, but again, I don't know how we're going to get there. listen, I'm not the road dog. I'm not Triple H. I don't book SmackDown. But I do think that the way that we're headed right now is Drew McIntyre versus Jacob Fatu versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. And honestly, I think Jacob Fatu walks away as champion. I think we're building a brand new superstar this year at WrestleMania and Jacob Fatu. And finally, we have the men's WWE World Heavyweight Champion, CM Punk, over on Monday Night Raw. He has been feuding with Braun Breaker and The Vision. He had a match against Braun Breaker where he beat him clean on the first Raw of the year. As I record this on Sunday, he has a match tomorrow on Monday Night Raw against Finn Balor for this championship. I do not think that Finn Balor walks away as the winner. I think that the match is going to be absolutely amazing, and both of these dudes are going to shine, and we're going to see something in Finn Balor that we haven't seen in a long time, and it will eventually lead to a Finn Balor push, maybe. Who knows at this point. But I do think that CM Punk takes this title all the way to WrestleMania, and sorry to do this, but another multi-person match for the main event title, same as I did with SmackDown. But here we have a triple threat match, and I think that he defends it against both Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. I think Braun Breaker wins. I don't know if Braun Breaker wins the Rumble, the Chamber. I said that maybe both of the challengers for the Undisputed Championship win both of these events. I don't think that WWE is gutsy enough to do that. But maybe Braun Breaker wins one of them, but then Seth Rollins comes back. And Seth Rollins never lost his title. Seth Rollins, in kayfabe, was attacked by Braun Breaker, injured, and was forced to vacate his title. So if Braun Breaker wins the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber, he has a shot at CM Punk for this title once again. Seth Rollins comes back. I never lost my title. And this match then becomes a triple threat match between three dudes that absolutely hate each other. I know I said this during the Drew McIntyre title as well, but maybe throw Roman Reigns in here. Who knows, right? Roman Reigns can come into any show at any point, at any time. It doesn't matter the time of the day. It doesn't matter the time of the year. It doesn't matter if it's a Sunday. If Roman Reigns wants a title shot, Roman Reigns gets a title shot. So I think he just comes in and challenges one of these two guys for their title, and one of the two triple threat matches becomes a fatal four-way. I think he fits in perfectly with both, but if we put him into this match with CM Punk, we get basically a rematch from last year plus Braun Breaker, and I don't think anyone's mad at that. I do, again, say that we are building new stars this WrestleMania. I think this WrestleMania is all about out with the old and in with the new. And with that, I say that Braun Breaker walks away from the star-studded main event as WWE World Champion. Listen, maybe this is how CM Punk finally gets his main event at WrestleMania, because main eventing night one is not main eventing WrestleMania. I'm sorry I said it. Someone needed to say it. I said it. Main eventing night two is the only main event to WrestleMania. So maybe this match is how we get CM Punk to finally main event WrestleMania. But unfortunately, I do think that Braun Breaker walks away as champion. So there you have it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. This was kind of a longer video, but I had a lot of fun with this. Some of these titles, I'm just like, I don't know where they go from here, specifically the IC Championship, the men's IC Championship. I don't know. Also the women's, right? Like, does Becky Lynch lose it? Because I can also argue that Maxine Dupree wins it again to prove that this wasn't a fluke the first time, right? And AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania doesn't need a title. It honestly doesn't. So, I don't know. I go back and forth with those, but let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think Becky Lynch makes it all the way to WrestleMania. Let me know if you think someone else that I didn't even mention in this video wins a title before then, or if someone else that I didn't even mention in this video wins a title at WrestleMania, right? Chris Jericho's definitely coming back at the Rumble. Does he win something at WrestleMania? Does he win something before WrestleMania? Probably not. Hopefully not. But you let me know if you think I'm wrong. Anyway, though, since you made it this far, make sure to drop a like, make sure to hit throw something in the comments. Let me know that you made it this far and throw something in the comments. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk wrestling. But as always, make sure to hit subscribe if you haven't. Also, by the way, make sure to click on one of these videos. It'll be somewhere on this. I think it'll be here. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Make sure to watch a video. Make sure to subscribe. And as always, until next time, have a nice day.